We've covered it before on this channel, but today I'm going to dive into what Peeker's advantage is and how you can take advantage of it with the new update to Counter-Strike. I'm going to teach you how to peek effectively in 2024 and give yourself the best chance possible at winning fights. And we're going to explore how to counter people peeking you and what we can do in order to take advantage of the current meta. But first, I do have a message from the sponsor of today's video. Thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Skins Monkey. They are one of the greatest and easiest to use CS2 trading sites out there. You can swap out the skins you do not like for brand new ones that are so much more fresh. Even skins that are trade locked can be secured by adding them to your backpack. The greatest thing about the site is that you can buy skins for so much cheaper with a 35% deposit bonus when you use my code COJO. Make sure to check out the freebie section where you can get a free skin just by completing tasks. On top of the bonuses, you also get a $5 bonus when clicking the link in the description. All right, so let's talk about how we can peek people effectively and kind of the science behind everything, right? So in this game, in Counter-Strike, the way ping works, internet connection, just the way things go, the peeker almost always has the advantage on seeing the opponent, right? There is a lot to dive into this, but overall, the person peeking has the advantage, hence the name Peeker's advantage, right? Obviously, if you have a thing, you know, if you're sitting somewhere with an op, it's gonna negate that. There's a lot of ways that we can take advantage of different ways angles work, but essentially when you're peeking, what we need to make sure we're doing is we are peeking with velocity, right? In Counter-Strike, peeking with velocity is going to be everything. So on your keyboard, when we're peeking an angle like top mid, I want you to hold A, and then when you see the opponent, that's when you tap D and start shooting. So we're holding A, tap D, crouch, and start shooting, right? We're trying to cancel that momentum as fast as we possibly can, right? And the reason I tell you to crouch and do that is because crouching stops your momentum pretty much instantly, right? Versus look how inaccurate we are if we like, that's us not doing anything, right? See how my bullets just keep flying? See how they go up there, right? It's not accurate at all. Versus when we're crouching, we can be so accurate. I tap D and then I crouch, right? So also when we're peeking angles, you have to understand different ways to fight, right? There's going to be different scenarios where it depends on how you want to fight an angle, right? Generally, what I would recommend for you when you are peeking is to peek far away from the angle, because one, your shoulder is going to show. So like when I'm in an angle like this, they can see my elbow and they can see like my body before I actually see them on the screen, versus if I peek far back, it negates a lot of that, right? So in general, when you are peeking angles, you want to try to peek farther away from the wall. Now there is a peek that you can take advantage of that throws all of this out the window. People used to call it the Xantares peek. I don't know what kids are calling it nowadays, but it's essentially when you are close on the wall and you're just swinging super wide.
14 to work. Up against Xantares, there's not many players.
This might be a round with no kills unless Shiro grabs his one. Wow.
Why do we do this? Especially when we're facing an opper, it's going to be hard for them to see you. And I know from our POV, it doesn't look that fast, but trust me, especially when we have pistols, guys, when we have a Tech 9, Deagle, whatever, doing this peek is so hard for them to counter, right? From their perspective, you are flying past their screen versus when we're peeking out here. Yeah, we might have the advantage, but it's not as fast. The velocity is not as quick. One thing you can do to take advantage of Peeker's advantage, guys, is you can jiggle angles, right? We can jiggle and pre-fire. I've done videos on my channel on how to pre-fire, but essentially this is just going to help you use that advantage that you get when you're peeking. And especially when you're facing oppers, that jigglage is going to just be so hard to deal with, right? They don't know if you're swinging and they don't know what you're doing. A good Counter-Strike player has a mixed bag of ways to peek, right? For me, it's so easy when I'm playing matchmaking games or premier matches, low-level face lobbies, or even face level 10 lobbies where I just got to read. I'm an opper. It's so easy for me when I just know how they're peeking. When they're just swinging every time or they're jiggling every time. If I'm playing a player that's just mindlessly swinging, you know what I'm doing? I'm literally holding an angle like really far deep like this, right? If I see a player that's jiggling every time, I'm literally holding close like this. You have to vary your peeks in order to take advantage of Peeker's advantage in this game, right? So how do we counter this Peeker's advantage? That is one way, is finding the tendencies of our opponents. The other way is literally, you know, it's hard. Literally, another way to counter Peeker's advantage is by just jiggling, right? If they're peeking into you and you get that info, now they're like, technically you are the one holding the angle, right? We are holding this, but because we're jiggling, it's almost impossible for them to kill you. So now you have this advantage and then you can actually swing them, right? So sometimes you'll see oppers, like we'll be posted here, we get the shot and then more people swing out and we're kind of jiggling, trying to see. It's a little greedy, but but then you get that kill because you're essentially the one that's re-peeking into them. Now, something you have to understand, and I know this video is bouncing around a lot back and forth, but I hope this information is something you guys can learn, is in general in Counter-Strike, peeking on the right side is your best friend. There's a lot to get into that, and there's a lot of science behind it that is, you know, a little complicated to understand, but essentially you can take my word for it. Peeking on the right side is your best friend. The way the camera works, the way the game works, when you're peeking right side, it's very strong. When you're peeking left side, it's very weak, right? So we can take advantage of that with angles like this, where we're peeking right side. We're gonna see them a mile before they see us, right? Versus when we're peeking on the left side, they're actually going to see us before we see them. So anytime you can, you really want to take advantage of that mechanic in this game and peek with the right side of your screen going out first, right? That's why when we're peeking angles like here in Palace, you might be getting one digged a lot from Palace. And yeah, they're hitting a nice shot on you, like they really are, but they're also literally just seeing you before you could see them. So whenever I'm playing the game, I'm always thinking in my head, all right, can I play an angle where I'm forcing them to swing on the left side, right? That's why holding this ramp angle with the op is so effective, like sitting here. Why? Because look, when they're swinging, they have to swing here. Now, what can we do when we're in a team environment to take advantage of this peeker advantage and make sure we're playing like a pro, guys? Double peeking. And this, you know, this just goes into how to counter oppers and better players. Peek both angles. Do a Xantares peek on this side, and then have a guy peeking shallow right here, right? Where Xantares is peeking, and then we are shallow peeking. Do that with your friend that you queue with. Do that with your matchmaking friend. You could be a silver 1 and learn how to do this. Ready? And you know, you can say 3, 2, 1, peek. This guy peeks out. This guy goes here. People say ping, pong. So this player says ping. The other one says pong. And on pong, they both swing and do their jobs. Just communicating like this is going to be so essential to learning how to, you know, peek people effectively and do that, right? But at the end of the day, like I said, the most important thing you have to understand is countering that momentum, because it doesn't do you any good to just be swinging. Especially with the new updates where peeker's advantage isn't as deadly or as important. You have to be able to cancel your momentum now, right? We're peeking, cancel. All I'm doing, if I could have my keyboard out right now for you, I'm holding A and then I'm tapping D and crouching or canceling my momentum completely, right? You can do this when you're shifting too. It doesn't just have to be when you're wide swinging. Boom. What did I do there? I tap D, right? I tap D and make sure I'm canceling it. This is something you just have to practice. And also, you got to realize, guys, a really bad peek and a bad way to like actually fight angles is just walking into them, right? Especially if you're close. If you're close walking into an angle, you're gonna die every time. I suggest to you, if you are just like walking through all these angles and trying to clear them, stay as far away as walls as you can, right? That's where this wall situation thing is really gonna come into play, right? When we're clearing apps up here, don't come up here and clear like this. That's so bad. Pre-aim your spots. Pre-aim your spots like this and jiggle them out a little bit, right? You're trying not to make noise, which is fine, but you don't want to give the easy shot, right? It's so easy of a shot when I'm sitting here with an op and someone's like not jiggling and someone just is walking in like this. When they're just walking in like this, dude, that's the easiest shot of my life. I get so frustrated when someone's just like jiggling these angles without making noise, and then I accidentally shoot because I think they're just coming out, and boom, now you have that info and you can play the round based on that. So just use your head when you're playing the game, guys. There's a lot of information in this video. I would rewatch certain parts and make sure that you're understanding as much of it as possible. Thank you all so much for 15,000 subscribers. If you're not subscribed already, do me a huge favor and hit that button and help me grow and support me along the way. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. You all have a great rest of your day. Let's keep getting better together. Peace out.